Hey, Andrew, can you make sure that the new blog post with the stream is stickied?
I'm doing it right now.
Or Kevin, whoever, yeah, just stick it.
Yeah, I'm already writing this whole stuff.
So C is how we pronounce it?
C, yep. C.
C, C-I-E. Where are you guys based?
Long Beach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think so. He's going to count us in.
Okay.
Stand by.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to day 2 of the Samsung Developers Conference. I am Phil Nickinson with AndroidCentral.com, and I'm here with Matt Nutt from C,
That's
CIE.
right. Yes.
And we heard from you guys in the keynote a little bit yesterday morning, right?
That's right. That's right. We're working on a new drag racing game for Android devices.
Not available just yet.
So we announced that we were working on it yesterday. Number one request from our fans is that we port it to Android.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely going to have it out before the end of the year.
So what makes this different from all the other racing games out there? Because there are a ton, and I enjoy a lot of them, and
Yeah.
each one has something special. What do you guys have?
Sure. So what we've done is we've taken the drag racing game. There's a lot of good drag racing games on mobile devices right now. They're fun to play, they're pretty to look at, but they're mostly solitary play experiences. So you're either playing campaign, or even if you're racing someone else, you're racing their data in the cloud. It's not true multiplayer.
Right.
So the innovation that we've brought to the genre is live synchronous multiplayer. So what we do is when you choose to race, we drop you into a lobby with up to 25 other racers. And the kind of passive mode is you can sit back and spectate. You can watch other people race, or you can challenge or be challenged. Now, if someone challenges you, you can either race or raise or chicken out.
Oh.
And by raising, you can bet in-game currency all the way up to your pink slips.
Nice.
So we really like the live synchronous in a game lobby with lots of chatting. We think that kind of visceral excitement of challenging somebody, betting your pink slip, putting everything on the line, in a winning or losing, it's a huge high or low, and then being able to brag or take insults in the game lobby, it makes for a unique experience.
Which actually I think makes the name of the game itself perfect. We haven't actually mentioned the name of the game yet.
That's right. So it's called Racing Rivals.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that I think that fits it to a T. Really.
It does. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ballpark on when we can expect it?
Before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year.
Yeah. Very soon. Very
Free,
soon.
paid.
So the game is free to play with in-app purchases.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And that's it. We are going to be back more from the Samsung Developers Conference here in a few minutes.
Drop that right on through.
You got that? You good? Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of Google Plus stuff.
Anything exciting?
They basically ripped off a lot of the good camera stuff from HP.
And I'm from Estonia, I flew here for that.
All right, cool. They said 33 countries, so I figured we'd get a whole broad range of people.
Same mic.
Need me to double check? talking? Test, test, test. Okay. I imagine this has got to be a pretty big market in developing countries, right?
Yep, we cover about 80 different countries.
Wow.
Camera's okay, kid? Okay, you guys about ready? So whenever we get started, like you were saying, you guys just chat. You ignore everything going on in this area best you can.
All right.
And you guys just chat.
Okay.
One's a little low. Two, a little low. It's low.
Yeah, just hang up or hang out. These guys are tall.
Yeah, I thought it had headroom.
There's like, it's inside the action line. It's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Okie dokie.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, we ready?
Hey guys, welcome back to Android Central Live at SDC 13. We're bringing you all kinds of great interviews and talking to amazing people. We have Tarvo here with Fortumo, and payments is a huge, huge industry right now, and especially in developing markets. What exactly do you guys do in the mobile payment space?
So what we do is we have connected with over 300 different carriers around the world and do the billing through the carriers. So actually the majority of people around the world, there are over 5 billion people who have mobile phones, but most of them don't have credit cards.
Right, exactly,
So
that can be tough.
So they can't make the payments with their credit cards, but then the carrier billing helps. And the carriers are also really interested in that because they want to take a part in the app ecosystem.
Right, so this is enabling not only person-to-person transfers, right, but then you also have, paying for things at restaurants or shops, right?
So main thing what we work are the digital goods that
Okay.
you can purchase on your mobile phone. So a lot of good examples are, for example, music, video streaming, and also games. So
Right.
for example, Angry Birds, we work with them in a lot of different countries, and you
Okay.
can purchase the Mighty Eagle, for example.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and so that's really interesting because we all think of it, in many major Western countries, we think of, oh, you just go to Google Play or you go to the App Store or something and you just plug in your credit card and it's there. But
Exactly.
if somebody doesn't have access to that, then there's no real system in place. There's gift cards in some countries, but you can't easily turn cash into digital goods. So what
Exactly.
kind of
The
traction are you guys
conversion is
seeing?
really bad with those kinds of cards.
Right.
But with the carrier billing, the conversion is really good because you don't have to leave your phone, and actually don't even have to insert any information because all the information is already on the phone there,
Right.
and the carrier knows if it can be billed to your bill or
Oh,
not.
okay, sure.
So basically, it's a one-click payment.
So that could really bring down, almost all barriers to people making purchases. Do the carriers see huge upticks in the amount of digital content people are buying?
Yes, so it's raising a lot all around the world. And currently with our developers, we already see that they are earning most of their revenues with the carrier billing in emerging markets like Brazil, for example, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Russia. We have developers in Russia who have mentioned that over 90% of their revenues come from carrier billing.
Well, that's actually really surprising. We don't always think of carrier billing for additional services, but it can make a lot of sense for people, even if they did have access to a credit card, right? Because they just have one bill at the end of the month. Everything gets billed into the carrier, and then they get to handle it. And of course, like you said, the carriers love it because they get their cut as well.
Exactly, the carriers really love it. And the other thing is the banking system in a lot of the emerging markets is not so good.
Right.
And also the fraud rates are really, really high. So for example, even in Russia, if you have a credit card, you don't really want to put this information into your mobile phone because people don't trust that. And so doing it with their carrier billing, it's much more convenient.
Okay, so that's another interesting area is, just the privacy side. You don't have to give out your card, you know, if you had one, even to everybody. And, you know, obviously if you're paying your carrier already, you must trust them with your payment information. So you said you're seeing the biggest upticks in places like Southeast Asia, and
Exactly.
what kind of adoption rates are you seeing? Like a carrier implements it, do they see thousands and thousands of people, you know, overnight, or are people a little reticent about it?
So it grows pretty quickly. So thousands and thousands of people every day are making the payment, and it's growing really fast. And the game developers really like. Actually, we have a pretty big program for app developers in general.
Okay.
One was just launched in China Expand, where we help those developers in China to get into all the other Asian markets.
Right.
And we also help the developers here in US, for example,
Okay.
and help to get their apps into the app stores in emerging markets.
Right, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, the app stores might not be available everywhere, and they may not see, you know, they can't go with the regular model into these markets if they didn't have a payment system, right? So
Exactly.
you guys are also kind of courting developers saying, we can help you make money in these other markets.
Exactly. So we work with over 30 different alternative app stores. We work with mobile operators all around the world who have their own app stores, so we can get
Great.
the apps over there. We just launched a project with the Kyivstar in Ukraine. So they have a special app store, and they're promoting all the apps that are working with us or already have our payments integrated.
Great, and then that means it just circulates back, and then the developers have more money. You know, they bring out new apps, and then the
Exactly.
people get more interested. And I think that we've all seen, as soon as people kind of realize the value in having in-app purchases from the consumer side, they say, you know, I can try apps for free. I can, you know, buy, like you said, you could buy the Eagle or
Mighty Eagle, yeah.
exactly, and Angry Birds. Then they, you know, then they get hooked, and once you bring down that barrier of entry, I mean, I think everybody benefits. I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Yeah, things are going really good.
Well, that's great. We appreciate you talking to us. That's not really something that we get out in the Western markets very often. So
Yeah, exactly.
we
And
really
so if
appreciate you
there's-
coming
If
to
there are
talk.
developers around that have a lot of users in the emerging markets, which usually happens because the apps are popular everywhere.
Right. Fortuma.
Exactly. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thanks a lot, guys. And we'll be coming back to you with more coverage here, Android Central Live at SDC 13. That's great. You know, we don't see that at all.
Just drop this down. Oops. Cool, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Hey, whenever we're doing these things, you were kind of migrating further and
Oh,
further.
did I go too
You
far over?
Almost moved off the camera.
Oh, okay.
So
I
you're
moved
right
too
on
far
the
over.
edge, so yeah, just kind of.
We want to be more like. I think the problem was I turned the laptop, so I kept turning to him more and more and more. Okay, sure. Yeah, I guess I should use the center camera as the point of reference for where the middle is. Yeah. Awesome. Sweet.
There's like a 2-minute delay, I think.
Do we have anybody else?
Yep, Peter.
Peter, hey, how are you? I'm John. Nice to meet you.
Samsung phone?
That is a Samsung Galaxy camera. Yeah, I wore one completely out, and we got the second one, and
Maybe the battery's worn out, or you
no, I mean like
used it out.
used it out.
How'd you do that?
Well, we got one when it was like brand new,
Yeah.
and we travel so much, and I was using it like I don't know how many pictures we taken with it, and just all the opening, closing, everything else. So we kind of wore out the little mechanism that opens the shutters and all that. And then it was also having a few memory problems. It's my backup, believe it or not. I usually shoot with like a Canon 1D or 5D.
Okay.
And originally when I first got these, I
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Android Central Live here at the Samsung DevCon in San Francisco. I'm here with Peter Havens from Centrify. We're going to talk a little bit. Sit down. You're going to need me a minute for this because we're going to talk about Knox, which is this big, scary, enterprisey security thing that is going into, what is it, probably 4 or 5 Samsung phones now?
Devices, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going into all devices moving forward, but I think right now it's in the Galaxy Note 3. It's in the S4 in Europe, going to the S4 in the US, I think at the end of this month, and then every device here on out. And I think it's going back to the earlier devices, the S3 and Note 2 later this year.
Do me a favor, take 30 seconds and explain to everybody why Knox is a big deal, just from as a consumer, as a normal person who doesn't understand this stuff.
Yeah.
I take my phone to my job. I want to use one phone. I don't
Right.
want to have a work phone. How does Knox help me do that, and how do you guys help me do
Well,
that?
Knox helps because the enterprise has had a hard time trusting Android in general, right? Malware has been a concern. The fact that the apps aren't vetted, anything can get on there. Devices are easily rooted. So if you look at traditional penetration for Android devices into the market, it's relatively low with the mobile device vendors. It's in the 1-digit percentages because there's been a trust issue. And Knox really comes to try to solve that problem, to try to bring a secure solution to Android. And so it's built from the hardware up. There's I guess they call it a chain of trust, or from the hardware to the operating system to everything in between.
Right.
That there's this trusted chain that boots and secures the device and the container and everything with it. So it's built on SE Linux. They termed a phrase SE Android, which is built same way they build security enhanced Linux. Now there's a security enhanced Android,
Right.
and that's built into the Knox container. So Knox is more than just a container; it's the whole device, it's the whole platform. What you see most of the time is the actual container. So we'll show you that here in a minute.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Do I have to download it? Does it just come?
That's a great question. So it depends what device you get.
Right.
So the Note 3s that are coming for European Open already have it. The S4s, so if you go and purchase a European Open Note 3, it's got Knox built into it. It'll actually have a personal Knox, which is kind of a simplified version of Knox, just to kind of give you a taste. Gives you a couple of access points for Knox. Like it's a personal container, not really to be managed by the enterprise. So that comes with it, but if you get the Note 3 in the US, it does not. So you'll have to enable it through a mobile device management solution that your enterprise uses.
Gotcha.
The S4s are in Europe. Again, the European Open device, I think the over-the-air update is already available, and the updates for the US are coming out now in the next couple of weeks. And I think for the older devices, the S3 and Note 2, they will come later in this year.
So we talk about Knox, but then there are actually other companies that come between Knox and me as an end user, and Centrify is one of them. So
Yes.
where do you guys come in with all this?
So in order to get Knox for the enterprise, you've got to have a mobile device management company that enables it. It's got to be created by some entity. So your organization, your enterprise, the company you work for would decide who they want to go with, and they would set up the MDM backend, and then that would be used to deliver Knox policies to the device. For Knox specifically, when you actually use Knox, you have to get a license from Samsung to use it. And if you purchase that license, the Centrify solution for management and for single sign-on is included. So no extra cost, it's part of the Knox solution. Yeah.
So you want to walk us through?
Sure. I've got a Samsung Galaxy S4 here, and it's got Knox on it. I've already set it up, so I'm not going to walk you through that. Let me hide my passcode from everybody here. I won't walk through the actual installation of Knox because it's already here, but you can see I've got a Knox icon there, which actually launches me into the corporate environment. Now, it wasn't locked in this case because I have used it recently, but I could lock it at any time. And now if I try to launch that container, I won't be able to. So if I were going to hand my phone off to you, I won't be able to. It should ask me for passcode. I think I had my fingers in the way. So if I wanted to give you my phone and say, here, check things out for a while, I could do that and just lock the container.
Gotcha.
You couldn't send email to my boss and that kind of stuff. So apologize, I'll switch over here. I'm going to go ahead and log into the container. So the nice thing is nobody likes passwords, especially on mobile because they're hard to key in.
Right.
Nice thing about Knox is once you key it in once and you're into the Knox environment, ooh, nice. Downloading a whole bunch of cool stuff here.
Even we get demo fields.
Yes. Once you're in, you have single sign-on within the Knox container. So I mentioned we do provisioning of the Knox container. We do device management. Okay. Is that better? Yeah. So once we're into the Knox container, we provide single sign-on. So I'll give you an example of that. This Box app I just installed from the Samsung Knox App Store here. It's never been run. Normally when you would launch something like Box, an enterprise app, it would ask you for a username and password. And you'll see here, it's just logging in. So it's actually asking the Knox operating system who the single sign-on user is, and it's seeing that one's provisioned. And after it sees that, it goes ahead and requests a SAML token for that user if he's authorized to use Knox. and you get immediate access to your files. Whoops, I'll just skip the login there.
To your corporate files.
With your box files, yeah, your enterprise files. Box has just integrated the single sign-on APIs to make that possible. So the way they do that, I've got a little demo app which kind of demonstrates this. And there's 3 simple calls that they can use. One is just the get user information, so it's called get user information, and you call that, and I'm sure you'll never see that with the camera. But it tells the application who the single sign-on user is.
Right.
So they don't have to put in their password or their email address or whatever, not their password, but their email address. And once they have that, they know who the user is, they can ask if the user is authenticated or is authorized to use this application. So there's a get SAML token or a get token. So they call that, it goes and fetches a SAML token for the application. In this sample application, it's just going out and making a query to Salesforce for data. So never need to put in the username, never need to put in the password. It really gets away from the problems we're having today with users using the same password on every account, and then somebody gets hacked, and you got to change your password everywhere because everybody knows it.
Right.
No more passwords is the goal we're after here. So single sign-in is also made available for web applications. Centrify supports, I think, over 1,800 web applications today. Most of them are username password. The adoption of SAML-based authentication is growing, but it's still small in comparison to the overall size of applications. I think we support around 60 to 70 today, and it's growing rapidly.
So really what you're doing is you're making corporate security easier on me as an end user.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So, I mean, you've still got to get into the container, but once you do, the expectation is, hey, you've proven who you are. You're able to get into that container now. Don't make me prove it over and over and over again. Right. Because what I'll end up doing is just using the same password everywhere. Yep. Which is not,
we're not using
really the security.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Or using a very simple password, which again, thwarts what we're all trying to do is protect the corporate environment.
Excellent. So
that's kind of an overview of Nux. We do, all kinds of good stuff. We also do application management and deployment to both the device and the container. And it's cross-platform, works on iOS, works on plain old Android, Samsung, also Mac devices, Mac OS 10 devices. So,
excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's it for Centrify, and that's it for us for a couple minutes. I think I'm going to go get a salad maybe.
Sounds good.
So we'll be back. We got plenty more coming from Android Central Live here at the Samsung Developers Conference in San Francisco.
Thanks.
Hey guys, we're back at it again at Android Central Live, SDC 13, and obviously with this being a Samsung developer conference, we have a lot of note-taking, Note 3, Note 10.1 stuff going on. This is Andrew with Papyrus, and he's got quite a bit to show off here with the stylus and the Note 3.
Yeah. So Papyrus is a natural handwriting note-taking app that you can use just like you would write on paper, but you can do it on any Android device, but it works really well on Samsung devices with the S Pen. So it allows you to use the S Pen, use pressure sensitivity, take notes naturally. We can detect the difference between the pen and the finger, so we can do things like the user can write with the pen and then erase with their finger. So
great.
get access to really quick functionality rather than having to go through the tools, the menu to do that.
Right, and so you said it works best on something with a kind of a high-tech stylus
Right, an
situation.
active pen.
Was that really easy to integrate with Samsung's custom stuff there?
Yeah, well, actually, in Android 4.0, they actually added Active Pen capability to
great.
the actual Android SDK. So we're able to use it on any device that supports an Active Pen.
And so what kind of interesting things are you seeing people using this for? Are they just jotting down grocery lists, or are they drawing caricatures or something on
Yeah,
it?
it's been amazing. We've seen people use it just for simple things like grocery lists, taking notes in class, taking notes at business meetings, and then we've been also astounded by people who have drawn amazing things. There's one guy in particular who draws these polar bears in comics, and so he's just created amazing drawings. One of which was one of our screenshots in the Google Play Store.
Oh, great.
It's vector based, so that's one of the main differentiators between our other. Between our competition. So that allows things like you can.
Why don't you show us if you have an example of how that would work for you?
Yeah, so here I've written some notes. I can zoom in, and as I zoom in, it redraws it. So
great.
It still looks good instead of pixelated at a different zoom level. That also allows us to export it as a PDF, and it retains that vector content, so then you can share it with other people. No matter what size screen they're viewing it on, it still looks good.
And I'm sure that makes a difference when you're looking at something like the Note 10.1 or some of these higher res tablets
Right.
that are 2500 by 1600. You can work with something and then blow it back up or scale it down and not have it distort, because if you draw a fancy polar bear art or something, you want it to look good on the bigger screen too.
Exactly.
So what kind of stuff can you do with your notes once you take them? Do you just have it siloed in, or are you going to share these out or collaborate?
Right. So right now you can take notes, multi-page notes. Another big feature we have is infinite page size. So by default, the pages are infinitely long and infinitely wide, but you can change that to be 8.5 by 11, A4, things like that. But once you take your notes, they're stored. You can arrange them in different notebooks, and then you can share them either as a PDF or PNG or JPEG with any service that accepts those on Android, just using the normal intent system.
Okay, that's great, because then something Evernote could easily just take in a PDF
Exactly.
or any other app that can do OCR, and you can start reading in from there as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot of users who use it with Evernote to export their notes as PNGs in particular, so that Evernote can do the OCR, store it in Evernote,
Great.
and be able to search through their notes within Evernote.
I think that's really important, because something like note taking, you really starting the list is, of course, just the beginning of what you're going to do with it. You want to be able to act on it with somebody else, or sketch up on something. What do you think about this? Send it over. Do you guys have a simple system for somebody to mark it up, send it over, they mark it up and send it back? Is that the collaborative kind of stuff that you're
Right.
seeing?
So we don't have. You can mark something up and you can send it over.
Okay.
We don't have. Being able to
Okay.
send it back. Our number one requested feature is PDF import.
Okay, right.
And that's something we're working on right now and hope
course.
to have available soon. And that will allow people to import a PDF document, whether it's slides from an event like this,
Right.
or a teacher's presentation to an invoice in a small business where somebody just wants to be able to fill it out, mark it up, email it to as many people as they need to, then they could import it into Papyrus, continue to mark it up, and email it back.
Right, and then the possibilities are limitless there once you
Exactly.
start moving around. So you had a couple of good examples there in school setting, in a business setting. What is the coolest example that you've heard of from somebody that's using your app to do something really interesting?
Well, we've definitely been amazed with how artists have used it. That was not an intended thing. I'm not an artist.
Right.
I created this originally to be able to take notes better in school when I was in college.
Okay.
And so I've been amazed at how people have been able to use it for doing drawings, all the way to taking notes, and like you said, just simple to-do lists or grocery lists,
Right.
simple things like that.
It's really interesting to see what, a couple simple enabling features such as the pen, and then, a couple apps are built. Papyrus is one of them, and then everybody just jumps off from there, and, all of a sudden people, transition from regular pen and paper to seeing the benefits of being able to, sketch it out and send it off and everything like that.
Exactly.
So, do you have anything else that you want to demo for us really quick? I know that you showed us a lot of interesting features in Papyrus.
Yeah, I can. So with the vector graphics, that allows us to also do things like, if I choose the selection tool, I can select. I can select any of these things, move them around. I can change the thickness after the fact. I can change the color. Resize it. I can copy and paste what I've drawn to
great.
the same page, another page in a note, or completely different note. So it allows, especially in sort of the classroom setting, if there's a lot of repetitive drawings, especially, or charts, you could draw it once, select it, copy it to the clipboard, and then paste it as many times as you need to, and just fill in the values, for example. So it makes things like that on paper you'd have to redraw
Right.
everything just a lot easier.
Right, so you're really taking, the best of what the electronic version has to offer, and, bringing that into, bringing people up to the modern age, so to speak. So.
Right.
All right, well, that's fantastic. Andrew, we appreciate you talking about Papyrus with us, and of course, with the Galaxy Note 3 as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, thanks a lot, guys. We'll be coming back with even more talks about apps, talks about all kinds of services. This is Android Central Live at SDC 13.
Yeah, I probably should have clarified that, but yes, it definitely works on all devices. It just works better with devices with the pen, and that's just because of the extra functionality that we can provide with that.
And the app is already out, it's available, is it free? Is
Yes,
it cost?
it's free. It's been out for about a year and a half now. We have over 900,000 downloads and 4.4 stars in Google Play.
Some good numbers right there.
Yeah,
That's
which
great.
is awesome. Our users love it. So, and one of the main things that our users say is, it's a very clean, intuitive interface, and that's really our goal. There is definitely competition that has more features than us, but it's kind of buttons everywhere.
Yeah, and when people want to come from, just writing on a pad of paper, it's like maybe they don't want an interface that's in the way and everything.
Right,
so.
right.
That's awesome. I appreciate you coming
Cool.
to talk to us.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
Great. Always good to see interesting stuff and people are doing, you think of it as kind of
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Android Central Live. We're here at the Samsung Developers Conference in, is it sunny outside, San Francisco? I'm not sure. I haven't been outside in a while. We are here now with a little company you might have heard of called Cisco.
Yep.
Based in the, are you in the Bay Area? Or are you,
We are in the
you
Bay
further
Area.
south? You are in the Bay
San
Area.
Jose.
The
San
logo
Jose.
probably should have given that away, I
Yep.
think. So you guys are here to talk about DevNet coming up?
We are, first of all, we're platinum sponsors of the event here today. So Samsung is a strategic alliance partner for us. And this is a great opportunity because it's their first developer conference, but we're launching our new developer community called Cisco DevNet on November 15th. And so we're here to talk to you about it.
Awesome. And Susie?
Yeah, so we're having a good time over here. So Rick and I are running Cisco's developer program going forward. So basically, if we take a look at what we're doing is, Cisco has a number of platforms for the enterprise. So we're in virtually every enterprise in the world.
Right.
And if you picture the shifts to software, then we need to let software developers build a nice set of rich enterprise apps on top of our platforms.
Anything
It's
I,
all
as
about that.
I'm a normal consumer. I'm not a developer. Anything, bring it down to my level. What might I
Yeah.
see from the fruits of your labor in, how many ever years down
Absolutely.
the road?
And in the fruits of our developers.
Right. Yes.
Labor,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a number of platforms that we make for the enterprise. So first of all, of course, Cisco has lots of networking equipment.
Right.
So we make networks, we make data centers, and if you look at all of that, there's a shift to software-defined networking. So networks are going to turn more software-controlled. And so when you look at that, we're exposing different APIs out of the network to allow different developers to actually write networking type apps on this whole new shift to software-defined networks. So that's one key area. On top of it, if you look at wireless, so this actually gets closer to home of
Right.
what normal people want. When you go to a shopping mall or you go to a casino or you go to a hotel, then you're always kind of registering for your Wi-Fi access. So you kind of sign in, get your Wi-Fi access. Well, Cisco makes those Wi-Fi access points.
Yeah.
And if you think about the technology of what's going on in there, then what happens is, you kind of sign in, and then when you walk around, there's different access points that you connect to.
Right.
So we actually have location capabilities in those Wi-Fi access points. And then when you get handed off between different access points, the developer doesn't have to worry about that. We have all that coming into a wireless controller, and then we're giving out APIs. And these APIs will actually let developers use the locations of people,
As you
what
move from
devices
place.
they've connected as you move
Right.
throughout. So this is called our Connected Mobility Experience, CMX, and we have a number of APIs. We'll be having some hackathons around that, which will be pretty good. And we're just excited for people to write apps, using all these locations. Stuff, you're in a casino, someone starts going towards the exit, boom, free drink ticket, get them back in.
Now I understand exactly what
You
you're
got
talking
it?
about.
Yeah.
Yes. It all makes sense now.
We also have a whole set of collaboration capabilities. So Rick can tell you about some of those.
Right, so building on Susie, so now you've located somebody, okay, but what do you want to do with them? So a lot of people know us for our networking equipment, but we're also a software company ourselves, so we develop applications, and a key application area for us is our collaboration applications and APIs for that. So you're probably familiar with WebEx. You've been on a WebEx conference call. Okay, that's one of our leading applications. We also have Jabber, which is our instant message and presence application. And so when you think about it, so if you have an application developer and they have a particular app, a business app, and now they want to collaboration enable. So maybe they want to take that application and include presence and instant messaging so you can locate somebody,
Right.
okay? And then message them. Or you can do click to call or click to video. Video is becoming a very important sort of communication tools for people to collaborate. So now you can locate somebody, see if they're available inside your application, and then click to call or click to video, and collaboration really enhances that experience of that particular
For as
application.
simple as Phil's in the office, Phil's not in the office.
Phil's in the office, Phil's in the app, and he's available. And let's say I get an application that shows me Phil hasn't been performing very well. Yeah, exactly.
Not Rick, Phil.
Just Phil, right. And his numbers are red, but I want to get a hold of Phil and talk to him real time live. I can use the APIs to collaboration enable the application that we're both looking at to get in contact with you, and then we can talk about the data that I'm looking at in your app.
How early in the process are we? If this is going to be your first DevNet and it's coming up in a couple of weeks, are we talking years in the making for all this
Actually,
when it
yeah.
finally hits businesses? Yeah.
Well, so actually the developer program, like kind of the new refacing of the developer program will happen next month. Now, these products, though, and the APIs, the whole product portfolio has been in the works for years.
Okay.
So if you think about, going to voice over IP,
Right.
So Cisco is really big in making voice go to voice over IP.
I use it.
You do it, okay. And then it's also connected to Cisco's telepresence products. So when you have video conferencing, both for, on the desktop, in conference rooms, kind of room to room.
Right.
If you think about it, your instant messaging, your presence, how do you make phone calls between these different video conferencing units? And then in software, extending through Jabber so that you can actually have a seamless video call between a software Jabber application or some new application that someone will write, and then talking seamlessly with your high-end telepresence room, right?
If it
That's all
sounds
pretty cool.
complicated, it's because it is.
It's not. It's not. It's a video call.
Although I'll tell you, with the launch of DevNet, so that's what's new. What we're doing is making it easy for people.
Right.
Okay, so that's the whole thing about DevNet is how do you make these tools accessible? So the APIs, the SDKs around it, we're going to have tutorials. So Phil, we have a tutorial there for you.
You could be a developer
You
too.
could be a developer. So we'll have tutorials out there, sample code and sample applications, software tools that you can download. And more importantly, so if you think about Cisco, you started off talking about, hey, infrastructure, enterprise, or big company.
Right.
Well, for your average developer, it's going to be very difficult to try to acquire equipment, to build out your own network, to build out your own communication. So we have a virtual sandbox. So developer, the investment is very small or nothing, because all they really have to do is time, get the API, develop the application, then go up to our virtual sandbox, and now they can access basically a lab in the sky, and they can test out their application so they know it works, right? So it's a very sort of low entry point for a developer to get in to start developing enterprise apps.
And then after their application is tested, then they know that it's going to work in enterprises that have the Cisco equipment, which covers a very large number of enterprises. So it's just a nice way to get into the enterprise without having to, fully get into
Will
the
the
enterprise.
developers be deploying through Cisco, or will they be on their own, or is it a mix of both?
So it's a great question. So we have a marketplace catalog whereby the developers, once they finish with their application, we can feature their application on that catalog. We also will do testing and verification, so we can do sort of an endorsement stamp, a good housekeeping seal of approval, if you will, to let people know that this is a reliable app. And then later on in the year, over time, we'll actually facilitate, even through commerce, of getting the application out there through like a store type of experience, and that's coming in the future. But right now, this marketplace is a key area for the developers to get access to the enterprise. I should also mention, so every product that we sell, when we're marketing those products, we try to let our customers know, hey, come to our marketplace, take a look at our catalog, look at the applications that integrate with these products. And then we have a pretty extensive field and channel network too. I mean, so that's, most of the developers don't have the luxury of having this huge sort of sales force. And this is one of the big things that Cisco brings to an individual developer that wants to get into the enterprise and get access. Our field can help with that.
If I'm a developer and I can't make it to DevNet on November 15th, what can I do? Is there some online method of learning all this? Or?
Yeah, so it's www.developer.cisco.com. And you can come there now on November 15th. It's going to have a new look and feel, so all these tools and things that I talked about are going to go live then. But just come to that URL. Now today, if you're at the conference today, though, stop by our booth. You really should come by our booth. Everybody here who's at the conference, who comes by our booth, if they grab our APIs, for some of the APIs that we talked about today, we'll give them free entry into the partner program. Okay, so remember I talked about that go-to-market with the field, the channels, and the marketplace. We'll give free access to that. So all they have to do is develop an app, and then they'll get sort of free access to our go-to-market.
It's exciting stuff. It
yeah.
really is.
It is, yeah. We'll
It's
hide
a
the
little over my head, but it's still exciting.
Well, we'll just say there's complicated infrastructure in the enterprise.
Right.
We don't want our developers to have to worry about it. We want to expose up the API so they can write really cool software and applications that'll sit on top of all that.
Excellent.
And some of these APIs, literally 15 minutes, you can develop an app. Phil, 30 minutes maybe. But
Actually, we should talk about the DX650. So,
yeah, there's one last thing. Yeah, that's
So
right.
we actually have this Android-based video phone. We're actually showing it over in the booth. So, again, all those phones that are sitting on people's desktops,
Right.
right? When you go to work. There's actually a new version of these phones that's called the DX650. Sorry about the numbering.
No.
And basically, you can write Android apps for this
Oh,
phone.
cool.
So imagine that you just have your phone, your keypad, you have an Android kind of tablet-like display right there, and boom, you can write apps for that.
Oh, neat.
And we're seeing a lot of large enterprises. This phone is brand new, so we're seeing a lot of large enterprise putting in big orders for these things because the enterprise will buy desk phones for people because they're there, secure, and they're not going to walk away, right? So they're buying them for them, and it's really a good opportunity for an Android developer to get into the enterprise market. I mean, the other thing is that an enterprise app sold in an enterprise market will usually, you may see less volume, but the price per app is much higher typically what we've been able to find. So another great opportunity for our developers.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for swinging by Android Central Live, and I have certainly learned a lot. So some
you.
exciting things coming up for Cisco. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And thank you to Samsung.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So we're going to be back in a minute, and we'll be back in a minute. Just hang out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey there, everybody. We are back live from Android Central Live, the aptly named show here at the Samsung Developers Conference. I'm Phil Nickinson with AndroidCentral.com, and we have Mike Moss from Cisco with us. Now, you and I are talking, and we do a lot of talking with everybody online, and you've actually got a really cool tool for enterprises to help bring people together, even just within the same building, right?
Absolutely. So what we've got is a public to enterprise solution for video telecommunications. So what we have is a mobile SDK that allows end user customers to reach into an enterprise and reach people for support or for any number of reasons. But I've got a quick demo if you'd like to see it.
Absolutely.
So what we've got right here is just a.
Hold it up a little further.
I got to see it first.
Ah,
There we go. There we go. So I've got a brief little app here that will launch a preview sample. And you can see that we've got the studio here. I'm just actually going to call, if I didn't press the menu button. And what this is doing is actually hopefully calling my desk phone back in Seattle. And since it's video enabled, we should get a nice view out my window of the Space Needle. So it's a lot nicer there than most people would think. It's not always raining in Seattle. So this is part of the SDK. All these pieces that you see here are what we give away as part of the SDK. So developers can really quickly, our goal is under 5 minutes, get integrated with a new video solution that they can share. So yeah.
Absolutely fast.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love the name, Jabbergast. So as the name implies, I mean, Jabber, from a consumer standpoint, just me, somebody who uses computers, that's just basic chat, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of really interesting usage scenarios here. One, for example, is obviously retail and support. So you could have a mobile app that's selling a product, and as a function of that, you may want to communicate with the company for support or for other information. You can integrate that directly into your mobile app or your web experience through Jabberguest, connect seamlessly, get a real person, see a real face, and deal with that way. Other scenarios, interior design, customer support of a technical nature. If you want to contact a remote expert on a particular field, you can reach into an organization and get that kind of video feedback. So there's lots of really interesting solutions. Healthcare, maybe you will have a nursing line, and instead of just having an audio call, you can have a two-way video communication and show your problem instead of just describe your problem.
Excellent. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So that's it for right now. We'll be back in a few minutes with even more live here from the Samsung Developers Conference in San Francisco. Stay tuned. Hey there, everybody. We are back live from the Samsung Developers Conference here in San Francisco, and I'm a little excited. Here's why. I have 2 young daughters who I don't get to see nearly enough these days because I'm here on the road. But one thing I do love to do with them is play games and read books, and I get to do that on Android now, which is really cool. And Tom Mara here from Loud Crow, one of my favorite developers of kids apps for a while. So let me just go through this list, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom thinks I'm blowing smoke at him, but I'm really not. Here's just a few of the books that you guys have turned into Android apps that I've purchased. Sandra Boynton, for you parents out there, we all know Boynton books. The Going to Bed book, Moo Ba La La La, Blue Hat, Green Hat. My kids love Blue Hat, Green Hat. That crazy turkey putting pants on his head. Good Night Moon, you made an app out of that. Charlie Brown, you know, the Peanuts gang. We've got several of them. Peter Rabbit, my kids love the Peter Rabbit book. Excellent, excellent. So you're going to show us something new today.
Yeah. We're just wrapping up a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. That's going to be coming to Google Play on November 14th. We're really excited about it. Our team has taken a really different approach with this app. They've really focused on making it a tactile, toy-like experience. And I think you'll get that as you take a look at the app here. So the story itself, it's a really great and meaningful way to sort of tell the story of Thanksgiving to your kids. What we do is we take these television specials and we make them fully interactive. And we're really just trying to sort of bring the story to life with interactivity, keep kids engaged. In this case, Charlie Brown is going to go to his grandparents' house for Thanksgiving, and he gets a call from Peppermint Patty, who sort of invites herself over to Thanksgiving, and Charlie Brown's in a bind. He needs to figure out a way to put a Thanksgiving dinner on in a hurry, so he very quickly, with the gang's help, puts together a Thanksgiving dinner with popcorn and candy. And Peppermint Patty, she's got a bit of an attitude, so she gives Charlie Brown a bit of a hard time. And then at the end, the gang sort of figures out that it's really important that you're just spending with family and friends, and that's what Thanksgiving's all about. So there's lots of great little activities and things you can do here. You can see Snoopy's he's making popcorn for the gang, and there's all kinds of things that the kids can play with, and it really is about engagement, having a bit of a reading experience so the kids are getting something out of it. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun, and it's a way to start a new family tradition.
Do you have a favorite app that you guys have translated from book form to? Can you pick one out of the many?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is ranking up there right now. I think the guys have done an incredible job, but I think a Charlie Brown Christmas, every time I turn it on to hear Vince Gilardi's music, it sort of pulls at my heartstrings. So that one's always been a favorite of mine and of the whole staff.
I just remembered Moo Ba La La La. It's so absurd. I have to do this. So a cow says moo.
Yeah.
A sheep says ba. 3 pigs say la la la. No, you say that isn't right. 3 pigs say oink all day and night.
Wow.
So it's coming back to me.
That's right.
My kids are getting older. Well, Tom, thank you very much for swinging by.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to meet you.
I don't think we talk enough about kids apps. So
yeah, we appreciate your support.
Absolutely
Phil.
important. So stay tuned. We are going to be right back with some more Android Central Live here from the Samsung Developers Conference. I might read some more children's books out loud. We're going to sit by the fire and all hold hands and get pillows and stuff. It's going to be awesome. So be right back.
I'm going to ignore all of it. Alrighty, and we're back with Android Central Live at SDC 13. And this is a Samsung conference, and we've got somebody who's deeply involved with a big part of this conference here. We've got Alan Queen, who's heading up the multi-screen SDK team for Samsung. Right. And there was a lot of talk at the keynote, at everything else we're talking about, the smart TVs and then the tablets and the phones and how, the home sync, how we make this all work. What is your guys' big goal? I know you guys haven't been at Samsung too long, but how are things working out right now at this point?
Well, the feedback has been fantastic, right? So what we're really trying to do is create an entire ecosystem for multi-screen that is not just about the Samsung TV, but also about mobile devices. And it's really about being cross-platform on mobile devices. So we have APIs for JavaScript, for Android, of course, and for iOS as well. Right. So we're looking to really, expand the entire global, developer market from mobile applications to expand their apps to the TV.
Right, and that's really important because even if you may have all Samsung devices, your friend may come over with an iOS device or something else or just a laptop and be able to open it up, and you don't want that that difficult experience of getting everything hooked up. And I'm sure that's a big part of getting these apps integrated is how the heck do you get things to just work and kind of have that magic going? Is that something that you're really focused on? But how do you translate that over to the third-party developers that are making apps?
The way we've been kind of approaching it is we want to provide sort of 4 key areas for both users and developers, right? We typically call that the discovery phase, the launch phase, the connect phase, and the communication phase. So if you think about a typical experience, we want to make it really easy for your mobile device to discover a compatible device in the room, right? And there's a really simple API to do that, and it's across the board. And of course, to connect to that device or launch experiences onto the TV from your mobile device. And what that really means is I can actually create an HTML5 cloud-based application hosted on my own site as a developer, and then from a mobile device, with one click, I can launch that experience on the TV, loads in. Now, once the application is loaded on the TV, we can actually provide all the connectivity and message exchange between those devices. So you can create some pretty amazing things from games to social to any type of application you can imagine.
Right, so once they kick it off, then it all gets handled, and once you're connected, then the real fun begins, of course.
That's right.
We saw demos during the keynote of putting up real-time scores for sports games while you're watching them, or complimentary information on your phone, throwing things back and forth.
That's right.
What are some of the most interesting things that you're seeing people expanding once you've given them the SDK?
Well, it's been pretty early on, so the main people that we gave the SDK to was Pandora, actually. So they did a demo at the keynote as well. It's pretty cool. So, from the Pandora mobile application, it'll discover a compatible smart TV, and then suddenly you can shift that experience to the TV. Right, so people a lot of times think we're actually streaming the audio from the mobile device to the TV. That's not what we're doing. We're actually launching an experience on the TV with Pandora, and then the communication mechanism allows the TV to take over, take over the audio stream from that point. And then, of course, you can use the mobile device as a controller to control the audio, to pause, go to the next song. Right. And they can also take advantage of some really cool features that the smart TV offers already, right? So we did a demo of some picture-in-picture kind of thing. So you're listening to Pandora, you can overlay on top of live TV, pull it back a little bit, however you want to do that. So those are the kind of things that we're really interested in. Also in games, right? We think multiplayer gaming, multi-screen gaming is huge, right? We really want to enable everyone in the living room, everybody using their mobile device, iOS, Android, maybe a mobile web client, to connect to the TV.
Right. And you don't want everybody huddling around somebody sitting on the couch holding a little phone. Yeah. You want to, display their gameplay, get multiple people involved, real time, a shooting game or a racing game where they're all playing against each other, right?
That's right. And again, it's not about casting the content to the TV. As a matter of fact, once the experience is loaded on the TV, all the mobile devices can come and go. It doesn't matter. The experience is now running on the TV, but any mobile device that joins that experience can actually connect and communicate just like any other could.
Right, and that's all about that seamless experience that you talk about. You don't want somebody that has to go walk out of the room and then you have to reset up the entire thing, right?
That's right.
You just want people to come and go as they please.
Yeah, there's no change of inputs on the TV, right? We don't have to switch between HDMI inputs or anything like that. And of course, we don't want one mobile device to control the entire experience. So it's about that, again, that seamless experience, both in the home and also public spaces. So it's something that we're very interested in Right now, we're providing a Wi-Fi only sort of connectivity solution.
Okay.
But coming soon is going to be our cloud connectivity solution. So you can imagine, stadiums, or go to your favorite bar,
Right.
and everybody's playing songs, or playing trivia from their mobile device.
Right,
with
it's
the
kind
TV.
of, you could have a digital jukebox going on or something.
Sure,
Everybody's
sure.
lining up to get their stuff in there, and you don't have to, walk up and put coins
And those
in
are
the
always
machine.
the most basic experiences, right? We hope people come up with something a little more creative than that. you know.
Right.
But the whole goal is provide them the tools to make these things.
Right, and that's what STC is all about, just providing the tools. And so you guys said that you've just opened up the SDK, a few people have access to it.
Yes.
How is that going to expand going forward now?
Okay, so we're going to be launching an open beta on 11/12/13.
Okay.
It's sort of the marketing term behind that.
Right.
And that'll be in conjunction with the Smart TV 5.0 SDK beta. And people will be able to download an emulator for the TV.
Oh, great.
And actually have an entire experience. You can discover the emulator, you can launch content in it just like a normal TV. And then, of course, the TVs themselves will be released early 2014. So it's about preparing people for what's coming for 2014. And then sometime in the year 2014, we'll also do a backwards upgrade for 2013 models, and possibly even before.
And then by that point, hopefully there'll be lots of great experiences being built all the way. That's really
Absolutely.
important. Get the SDK out to the developers first. They can
That's
start
right.
working with it. You want somebody to get that update or get that new TV, and all of a sudden there's dozens of different experiences that they can try out with their phones and everything. of the
Absolutely
sort.
right.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Alan, to talk to us. I'm sure SDC 13 is just the kicking off point for all this, and
It really is.
multi-screen and beyond as well.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it, Alan.
Thanks.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us for just a little bit. We're going to switch things out and have more people up here to interview.
But the TriCaster was freaking out a little bit.
You need a reboot or something? Just reboot it.
Well, I have to stop the stream.
Oh.
That really jacks me up.
That would suck.
Drive might not be fast. Let me switch the drive. Okay.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Android Central Live. We are here at the Samsung Developers Conference in San Francisco, and I have here an MHL adapter. Now, those of you who want to get high-definition video from your phone or tablet onto a high-definition TV, generally use one of these. We're starting to get into wirelessly a little bit more, but really this is where it's at. And in addition to an MHL adapter, I have here Michael Bergen. You are, it says here in front of me, the Senior Partner Alliance Manager for MHL.
I am indeed.
I have a question.
Yes.
What does MHL stand for?
Mobile High Definition Link.
That makes sense.
Yeah, somewhat. So MHL is a technology. We're a standards body, and we're built into hundreds of millions of products on the market right now. And as you mentioned, it's a great way to get high definition video and audio up to 1080p 60 and up to 8 channels of surround sound from your mobile device to the big screen. Not only that, but the big screen provides power and it charges the mobile device while it's connected. Because it's an uncompressed high definition video and audio, there's no lag, which makes it a great solution for gaming. The other couple of great aspects of MHL, it has HDCP built right into it. So for high-end video content, premium movies, whatnot, it has the content protection that Hollywood demands. There's also what we call Remote Control Protocol, RCP, where you can use the TV's remote to actually control the phone. And MHL is built into the Samsung Galaxy Note series, Galaxy Tab series, the S3, S4. It's built into most of the high-end Samsung smart TVs. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of Samsung TVs.
Why do I need an adapter? Why is this stuff just not
You
built
don't
into
actually.
my phone?
You don't actually. You only need an adapter if you have an HDMI, it says HDMI. You have an HDMI TV and an MHL phone, then you need an adapter. Otherwise, you just need a passive cable, which will go from your phone to your TV, just like any other passive cable. So the adapter is for legacy systems for HDMI TVs. If both ends have MHL, and that's becoming more and more commonly the case now.
I see. So it's less about this and
Right.
more about this.
It's just the cable, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason we have the cable is for the charging and for the no lag.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
How about that?
I mean, how long before this is phased out? I mean, because we've had to use adapters ever since I can remember.
Well, there's a lot more MHL TVs. 2013 really has been the year of TV and monitor adoption. If you look at MHL, meetmhl.com or mhltech.org, our consumer and our business website, you can see the tremendous list of products that support MHL. And more TVs and monitors are having it, which means more passive cables. There will always be legacy HDMI systems out there. People replace their phones every 12 to 18 months. TVs every 5 to 7 years.
Right. So if I was going to buy a new TV now, I would want to look for one that said MHL on it, so I would no longer need an adapter. I would essentially have what looks like a micro USB cable.
It looks like micro USB to HDMI, although it's neither. We share connections. We just need 5 pins. So we share the micro USB port or the 11-pin connector on the Samsung devices, and we share the HDMI port on the TV or monitors.
Gotcha. And then that in turn charges the phone.
Exactly.
No having to plug in a third plug.
None of that.
And
Just
plug it into the wall.
simple plug, and it's true plug and play.
Right.
There's no pairing. There's no passwords. There's no network interference. You just plug it in and it works.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for swinging by.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a few minutes with more from Android Central Live here at the Samsung Developers Conference.
Francisco is different because you don't get your big, huge towers that you would get in like Bangkok or something like that. All of the buildings here are historic, so you kind of have to work with that. There are a few new hotels, but it didn't fit the program based off of what we needed for the actual agenda. So we knew coming into this that it would seem a little bit odd to some people, but that's why we did all the branding. And you want to embrace San Francisco. You don't want to reject the whole concept of it. So.
Well, I think it's easy for me to say it's been a success.
Great.
And I'm sure the developers out there would say so as well. So thank you for doing it. Thank you for all the hard work.
Well, I appreciate it.
And thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we're going to be back in a couple minutes with more from Android Central Live at the Samsung Developers Conference. We'll see ya. Your turn.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks, guys.
That's it for now?
Until Juan Pablo shows up, if he shows up.
Fair enough.